Hey guys, welcome back. So today's video is a highly requested video and it is on how I cut my own hair at home. And I've been cutting my own hair at home for like 2 years now. Sometimes I'll get it cut by my coworkers because I am a professional hairstylist. Sometimes I'll get it cut by my coworkers or my other friends who are hairstylists, but most of the time I just kind of cut it myself just because I know what I like and I never mess it up. So yeah, I'm gonna basically show you all the techniques that I use on my hair. It was due time for a haircut for me, so I didn't cut too much of it off. Basically my haircuts, since my hair is pretty darn long, basically my haircuts are about maintenance and getting off the dead ends and kind of shaping up the face priming area. Not if you're looking for like a big layering video or, you know, something crazy where I'm taking off a ton of length, this is not the video for you. This is basically just about maintenance and upkeep on long hair. Normally I wear my hair curly, but I just want to show it to you guys straight so you guys can see the cut. My hair, I did not cut it necessarily this thin on the bottom. I've been trying to grow this out forever. So I'm going to show you how I try to take the littlest amount off as possible if you're trying to grow out a certain area of your hair. I didn't do this to myself. Somebody else did it to me. That's why I cut my own hair. But anyways, if you guys want to see how to cut your own hair at home, then please keep watching. You guys ready for this? Are you nervous? I just want to get into a couple basics before we get into the video. So I'm going to say that the most important thing about cutting your own hair is one of the most important things about cutting your own hair is the shears that you're using, the scissors that you're using. You could go to Sally's and buy a $10 pair of shears and cut your hair with that. But you're actually causing more damage than good because using a pair of shears that aren't super sharp, that are more dull, they actually leave a bit of a frayed end, and that's going to cause your hair to split even more and you're going to have to do more frequent haircuts. So I recommend, if this is like a thing that you are deciding that you're going to be doing from now on, cutting your own hair, I recommend investing in a good pair of shears. I have a really great pair of shears right here that I'll be using in today's video that are by Saki Shears. And I believe, let me see, I have the screen pulled up. These are $200 for a pair of shears and for a razor. And for those of you who aren't in the hair industry, that may sound expensive, but I promise you that's a really great deal for a good quality pair of stainless steel shears. So if you're thinking about doing this for the long haul and you know you're going to be cutting your hair for like the rest of your life, you're going to want to invest in a good pair of shears. But if you're just kind of testing it out, you can do something cheaper, but I highly recommend investing because it's going to give you it's going to be easier for you to cut your own hair. You're going to be able to glide across your hair, do better face framing. If you're using a crappy pair of shears, you may have a hard time cutting your own hair because it could get caught in your hair. It might take off more than you want. So I got the shears right here. The proper way to hold them is put your ring finger through it and then your thumb, and you just kind of go like that. I love these scissors because they're pink and they have a cute little like jewel accent on them. So enough about the shears, let's get into the cut. So I'm gonna part my hair close to the middle, but not exactly in the middle because I usually part more on this side anyways, but just for a little leeway. If you part your hair different ways, like if you part your hair this way one day and this way the next day, I'd recommend parting it right in the middle. That way you'll get a clean cut and it'll look good on both sides. Now if you part your hair the same way every single day, I recommend parting it that way while you're cutting it because then you can cut it to kind of complement that part. I bet you guys have never seen me with this flat of hair before. I feel like naked. I'm like, ugh. So I'm pulling all of my hair to the front. I'm kind of just taking an even amount on each side and taking it all up front here. I'm going to keep my face facing forward because if I were to turn my face like this and then gather the hair down here to cut, it's going to be different than if my face were facing forward. Your hair kind of moves with your head, so it's very important to remember to keep your head stationed. Don't move it. You're going to want to pull your hair straight down and then gather what's down there. So this is what I have. And I'm just going to, normally I'd point cut on my clients, but I prefer more of a straight line. So I'm just going to cut just a little bit off the bottoms here. Maybe like ½ an inch. So already this side is the side that I cut and this is the side that's kind of scraggly on the bottom. You can see the difference. I like a more of a blunt cut because it makes your hair look thicker at the bottom. I'm going to do the same thing to the other side. and just cut. Let's work on the layers. So I'm working on growing out my layers. Right now my longest layer, like actually my shortest layer, I'm sorry, goes to right about here. I am working on growing out my face framing too because somebody went and had like a field day on my face framing and it was so short and sparse and really thin, so it's finally thickening up a little bit. So I'm going to just err on the side of caution and make my hair as thick as possible, but if you want to add more layers then you just cut a little bit more off. But basically what I'm going to do is take a section right here. I'm going to do the face framing last, so I usually save this like little chunk here that's in front of my ear all the way up to here. I just set that aside and go to it later. So I'm just going to take this, I'm going to brush it straight out. So that is what I'm working with. It's all about hand placement, I guess. It's kind of, that's the hardest part, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy. So I'm brushing straight out, and with my left hand, I'm going to put my 2 fingers on each side and kind of clamp it like a flat iron and just kind of bring it down. And then I'm going to stop right there at my shortest layer so the hair doesn't fall out. And then I just kind of flip my hand this way, and the hair that's on top right here is going to be your top layer, and the hair that's down here is going to be your lower layer. As you can see with my hair, I have a pretty disconnected layering because I like my hair to be thick at the bottom, but I do like a little volume, so I put some layers in there. So I try not to cut too much at the bottom. I literally just kind of see what's like dead and just kind of pick at it. But then the top, if I want to shorten up my layers, I can kind of cut into it and shorten it up a little bit. But I just want to break that down for you guys so you guys can like know what you're cutting while you're cutting it. So you can kind of point cut like this if you want. And down here, that's a part that I'm really trying to grow out because it was really cut thin. I'm just going to literally take whatever frayed ends I see and just kind of straighten up that line a little bit. Also, one thing that I want to mention, when I'm taking layers like this, I am leaving a little bit of hair down here at the bottom because, as I mentioned, I'm trying to keep the bottom nice and thick. But if you like the really piecey, sparsey kind of look, I would take the whole bottom here and then I would layer everything. But I'm, just to be safe, like leaving that much out on the bottom, just to make sure. So once again, my hand is coming up here straight, grabbing that hair. And then I have this hair right here, and I'm going to flip my hand this way and just kind of trim up what I see. Anything that looks bent or like weird, I'm cutting off. I'm going to drop out a little bit more hair in the bottom here and take just this very top layer here. I can afford to take a little bit more off here. I just don't want to accidentally take it off the bottom. So if you want more layers, this is the way I personally cut. I'll cut like that. But that is a technique that I learned being a professional hairstylist for like years, so if that's too complex for you, you can literally just point cut it like that and get the same effect. Feels smoother already. So I'm just going to continue doing this all the way around, and as I mentioned, this is just a little bit of maintenance. I'm not really trying to get a different look here. I'm just trying to spruce things up. So with the back layer, since my layers are longer, I'm going to take this big hunk right here and just hold it out to here. And then I'm going to put my hands like this so all the layers lay down straight. And then I'm going to just take off what I see is scraggly. Now, if you're really cutting into your hair and like taking up big hunks of hair, I would not be cutting straight across, but since I'm literally just getting the ends of my hair, that's totally fine. Like, that's just making sure that I'm not taking off too much. But if you're like going in and like trying to lose some length, I would go in and point cut, because otherwise your layers are going to be really heavy. They're going to not lay the right way. You're going to want to just have something that blends a little bit more. So I'll show you some more point cutting techniques up here. You can go up in really high up if you want a little bit more layerage, or you can just point cut on the bottoms like this if you don't want too many layers. So one thing that I do for my hair, like say the long parts down here that don't have any layers that need to be cut, but I don't want to, you know, cut the length off, a technique that you can do to get the split ends off is take a small section like this, wherever you feel you have a lot of split ends. I'll take my hands right like this, put my middle finger down a little bit more than the rest of them, and I'll just clamp that piece of hair in between, and I'll have a little bit of hair up here on top and, you know, the rest of it down here. I'm just gonna like slide this down like this and kind of cut the top parts. Any little pieces of hair that stick up, I'm gonna cut, but it's very important not to get too close to the hair while you're cutting, because then you could actually cut like a big chunk of your hair, and that's not fun. I've never done that before, and I never want to. So I'm just kind of looking here and just seeing what hairs stick up, and whatever hairs stick up are usually the broken pieces, and it's just nice to kind of cap those off and get rid of the split ends so they'll grow more, because once a hair is split, it will continue to be split for the rest of its life until you cut it off or until it breaks off. There's no actual product out there that can actually mend split ends, so with these little split ends up here, the only way you can fix it is to cut it. Just gonna take another section over here. Just taking random sections. If you have a lot of like flyaways on the top layer of your hair, which I don't personally because my hair is naturally pretty straight, but if you have a lot of frizzy flyaways, that could also be breakage up here. So sometimes I'll just take that top layer like this, comb it down straight, and then I'll do the same little clamping technique, and then I'll just kind of get up in here. Sometimes I like to straighten it out down here and re-clamp it just to make sure that things aren't getting all askewed. I don't know if that's the right terminology. So when I move sides, the hand placement's a little different. I'm going to comb it with my right hand, and then I'm going to take my two fingers like this and go in from the top and squeeze it on down, and then pull it to the front like this, and then I can see what needs to be cut here. So this is a very sparsy area right here. I don't know if you guys can see that. I hope the camera's doing it justice, but this is a sparsy area, so I'm not really going to cut that, but I will cut this a little bit. So I'm just going to do the rest of this side, and then we'll get into some more fun stuff. Okay, so let's move on to face framing. I do have some face framing, as you guys have seen. This is a section which we have neglected. I like to section my hair apart, because sometimes when you're face framing, I find that the biggest problem that I have with like professional stylists is they get a little carried away with face framing. They'll take this whole section and like make it really short and go into like a long cut in the back. It's like a freaking mullet. I just like to take this little section right here, maybe about 2 inches in the top part of my head. I'm gonna flip this behind my shoulder because I don't want to mess with that. I'm still gonna try and leave this part over here as long as possible. It's really just this little area that I like to have a little bangage. But I'm going to take this razor. Razors are really easy to use, but if they're super sharp, they can cut through stuff really quickly, so you just have to be really careful that you're not cutting too much. So I'm just taking my hair. I have the comb and the razor in my right hand, and then my hair clamped in my left hand. I'm going to straighten this out and have it nice and taut like this. I want my bangs to come maybe right about here. So I'm going to take my razor, I'm going to flip my hand like this, like I'm going to slap you in the face, and just kind of inch it along. It's really, I think this is probably the easiest way to face frame your own hair, just because you're just kind of gliding it across. It doesn't take any awkward hand movements, like you're literally just gliding it. And I have the razor aimed towards the ground. If I had it aimed this way, like towards the wall, it would cut more of like a shelfy bang. I want them to be kind of straight down and really just kind of blend in with my hair, so I have it angled straight to the ground. I'm just kind of stepping it down. So we have these bangs here. They look pretty good, but I want them a little thinner so they're not too thick. So I'm gonna split the bang in half. And I'm gonna take this piece and put it over here, and take this piece, and then I'm just gonna cut a little bit just so it's not as thick, and just take some of the thickness out. I'm gonna split this bang in half once more and do the same thing over here. Just kind of up in here, and just kind of just a little bit of hair out. So now, as you can see, they just really blend really nicely, and when I put my hair up, they'll fall down and it'll be really cute. So that's it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Once again, I will be in the comments below answering back any questions that you may have. So let me know if you have any questions if you're trying this at home. But anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. If you have not subscribed to my channel yet, then please subscribe to it. And I will talk to you guys next time. Bye.